Aldi versus Walmart. That is the question we are tackling today. I'm gonna go pick up a few grocery items at Aldi later, but I'm at Walmart right now because I need to get some new pillows. And also my teaspoons are gone again. Like, where are these children taking my spoons? What are they doing with the spoons? I can't figure it out. So I came across this video that I made on my channel a few years ago, actually six years ago, where I picked out 10 grocery items that I commonly purchase, and I compared prices at Aldi, Walmart, and Target. But I don't really want to go to 3 stores today, so we're just going to talk about Aldi and Walmart, and those are the 2 places where I shop most frequently for groceries anyway. The items were tortillas, canned black beans, oatmeal packets, ground beef, 8 ounces of block cheese, pasta, cream cheese, specifically whipped cream cheese because my kids use that a lot, canned tomatoes, peanut butter, and frozen broccoli florets. And honestly, those are all things that I still buy frequently. I mean, those are pretty much still staples in our household, with the exception of maybe the oatmeal packets, because I tend to just buy plain oatmeal and just flavor it myself now. So I compared the price of each item from one store to the other, and in this case Aldi beat Walmart every single time, sometimes by a few pennies and sometimes by a lot more. At least where those 10 items were concerned, I saved almost 12% by purchasing them at Aldi instead of Walmart. But this was 6 years ago. This was back in 2020. So this is Aldi versus Walmart, the sequel, and I'm gonna look at those same 10 grocery items. Again, I still purchase these things for the most part quite often, and I'm gonna see how much the prices have risen within each store, like how much has Walmart raised their price on this item versus Aldi, and we'll also see, is Aldi still the better deal on these items, or has it changed? Have the tables turned? If you want to know what it's like living with teenagers, it is a 30-minute discussion / gripe session where they talk about how bad their pillows are. They actually started calling them 2D pillows because they're so flat. Also, they throw your spoons away. I'm convinced they're throwing my spoons away. The peanut butter I purchased 6 years ago is still in a 16-ounce jar. It was $1.64, now it's $1.98. Petite diced tomatoes, a 14.5-ounce can, it is still that size, were 64 cents, now they are 96 cents. Here's a really interesting one, you guys. The tortillas that I purchased 6 years ago have gone down in price. They were $2.35 for a 20 count of the 26-ounce flour tortillas. So this is the same size package as 6 years ago. They were $2.35, now they're $2.12. A little surprise there. Here's another one, you guys. 6 years ago, 8 ounces of block cheese cost me $2.08. There are now several kinds in that same size, 8 ounces, for $1.87. Interesting. However, the black beans for our taco night have gone up. I bought a can of organic black beans 6 years ago for 92 cents, and now that same can is $1.12. And that 20-cent hike is almost a 22% rise in price on that item. Oatmeal packets, it was $1.53 for 10 6 years ago. Now it is $1.87 for 10. They still have the apples and cinnamon and the maple and brown sugar, and also the original. The fruit and cream variety, for some reason, is the same price and only has 8 packets. And I think that was the case back then too. Like, there were some that were more, especially like the lower sugar ones, or this variety maybe. Frozen broccoli florets were $1 for a 12-ounce package. Let's see if it's the same. Still 12 ounces, but now they are $1.16. The pasta I bought 6 years ago was whole wheat. It was $1.99 for a box of Great Value brand whole wheat pasta. So I'll do a cost comparison there, but I'll also pick another kind or maybe 2 to compare, since I don't really buy that kind anymore. Okay, just kidding. They don't even have the Great Value brand whole wheat pasta that I was buying a few years back, at least not at my store. Just kidding again, it's up here. It's up here now. And it is $1.66. You can get linguine, spaghetti, elbows, or penne, 1 pound. I'm also gonna pick up a pound of this bronze cut pasta in the Better Goods brand. It's $2.14. They usually have bronze cut options at Aldi now, so maybe we can do a little comparison. My kids are so spoiled. I got them the nice $20 memory foam pillows. They've been asking for those for a while. Although one could argue that you can't put a price on good sleep, especially for adolescents. By the way, a pound of 85/15 grass-fed organic ground beef 6 years ago when I made that video was running me $5.78, and today, April 2026, it would cost me $7.47 here at Walmart. The only thing I couldn't do a true cost comparison on today in Walmart was the whipped cream cheese. At least today at my Walmart, they only had the 12-ounce container, and it was the 8-ounce container that I used in that previous video. So 12 ounces was $2.92, and ounce for ounce, that would be about the same price, but you know, you have to buy more. You have to pay more up front for that price. I'm gonna head over to Aldi and look at some prices there, as well as pick up a few groceries. But first, I need to fill up the mom van. So it's a great time to thank today's sponsor, Upside. We're talking about price increases, but Upside is still the same cost that it was years ago when I first started using it. It is a free app that you can download that gives you cash back on everyday purchases you might already be making. They have over 100,000 participating gas stations, grocery stores, and restaurants. So when I'm ready, it's super easy. I just open up the app and I select a place where I want to claim an offer, go to that place and make a purchase. And with most of my offers, that's it, because I have a card linked in my app, and so the cash back just comes to my Upside account once the purchase is verified, usually within a few days. I'm getting 13% back today with this offer through Upside, which on today's fill up is definitely more than just a few pennies. And yes, it's actual cash back, not points that expire or rewards credits you might forget about. You can cash it in for gift cards to a variety of locations, or you can just transfer it right to your bank account when you're ready. Upside has given back $1 billion to its users. To find out how much you could earn, download the free Upside app and use my code Mindy to get 25 cents back per gallon on your first tank of gas. That's an extra 25 cents back on every gallon for your first tank of gas when you download the free Upside app and use my promo code Mindy. And thank you again to Upside for sponsoring today's video. Okay, real life mom moment here. We are back to finish up this video. I had to work very quickly in Aldi because I was getting close to the time when I needed to go and pick my kids up from school. So I only had a few minutes in Aldi, but while I was running around the store grabbing the handful of items that I wanted to pick up for this week, I also checked on the prices of the grocery items that we're comparing in this video, so got them here for you. Today at Aldi, a 20-count flour tortillas in the fajita size was costing me $1.85, which is less than the $1.99 I paid 6 years ago. However, this is an interesting one to start out with because I pointed out in Walmart that the price had also gone down from $2.35 to $2.12. However, it was still the same size, 20 tortillas and 26 ounces. But in Aldi, I noticed that it was 20 tortillas, but only 23 ounces. So I don't know if the tortillas are all a little bit smaller. That's what the logic says, but the price today was $1.85. 6 years ago, I was paying 89 cents for a can of organic black beans at Aldi. Today, I would pay 99 cents, which is still less than the $1.16 I would be paying for the same size of organic black beans at Walmart. In 2020, the box of oatmeal packets at Aldi was costing me $1.43. Today, they were $1.85. So very similar to the price I would be paying at Walmart, just 2 cents less per box. But I also thought it was interesting that the fruit and cream flavor at Aldi was also only 8 packets per box, just like at Walmart. So I don't know what it is about that makes them more expensive to put together. Maybe like the little bits of fruit that are in them. I don't know, but it's the same deal at Aldi as it was at Walmart. Okay, now here's one that really surprised me, and I would not have realized this if I had not gone back to that video I made 6 years ago to look at prices I was paying back in 2020. In that video, I paid $1.69 for an 8-ounce block of cheese at Aldi. Today, the price was still $1.69. Now I know that it's been up and down probably over the course of the last few years, and I don't think that it was on sale necessarily. That was just the price that it was for multiple different varieties that I could buy in an 8-ounce block and shred up myself, which is my preferred way to use cheese in recipes. You know this if you watch my channel. But that's why I think it could be a really important exercise to go out and make our own observations and draw some conclusions instead of believing everything that we see and read. I think there's been a lot of doom and gloom around grocery prices and inflation, and to see that there are some items that have actually stayed the same or even gone down in price from the time that I made that video, it's comforting, you know, it gives me a little bit of peace of mind. Okay, we've had some good news, but this next one does sting just a little bit. A can of petite diced tomatoes, or some of the other variety of diced tomatoes at Aldi 6 years ago when I made that video, were 49 cents per can. Today, they were 89 cents. And honestly, we saw kind of a similar markup at Walmart in comparison to the video I made several years ago. And the frozen broccoli florets have gone up significantly, dare I say, when you take into account the percentage. They were 89 cents for a 12-ounce package, and today they were $1.15. So 26 cents doesn't feel like a lot of money, but it's actually an increase of almost 30%. One of the biggest price differences I noticed was the ground beef. A pound of 85.15 organic grass-fed ground beef. So it's the same amount, the same quality, the same fat percentage. $5.99 at Aldi, $7.47 at my Walmart. There was one item that I could not find at Aldi today, and that's the whipped cream cheese. And I feel like I just purchased this at Aldi within the last month. I thought maybe they were just out at my store, but there wasn't even a place for it on the shelf. You know, when there's an empty shelf, you can still see the price tag. It was not even there. So if you are an Aldi shopper and that's a product that you buy, the whipped cream cheese in the little 8-ounce tub, let me know. Have you been having trouble finding it? Do they still have it in your stores? I'm hoping maybe it was just like an out of stock situation, because that's something we use a lot around here. 6 years ago, I was purchasing a pound of organic whole wheat pasta for 99 cents. That same box at Aldi was $1.89 today. It was also $1.89 for the bronze cut pastas, which are the kind that I typically buy. And that's coming in 25 cents less per pound than I paid today at Walmart. Now, confession, I ran out of time before I could find the peanut butter at my Aldi. I feel like they've moved things around a little bit, so I had trouble finding it before I had to get in line and check out so I could go pick up the kids. When I look online though, that same 16-ounce jar of no stir creamy peanut butter is $1 more than I was paying. It was $2.15 today compared to $1.15 back in that video that I made in 2020. Okay, so I'm a little bit of a nerd when it comes to the grocery math. I just like discovering these things. And in the video I made years ago, I noticed that there was about a 12% difference between Aldi and Walmart. Buying the same items at Walmart was going to cost me about 12% more than purchasing those items at Aldi. Since the cream cheese was not a comparable item in both stores compared to that previous grocery trip, I just threw it out. And when I add the other 9 items together, I get $18.45 today at Aldi and $20.24 at Walmart, which is almost a 10% difference. So it's a little bit less of a difference than it was several years ago, at least today, in my stores here in Tulsa. I did some of this math very quickly with my phone calculator, so I'm hoping that I did it correctly. Otherwise, I know I'm gonna have some of my math teacher buddies coming at me in the comments. Now, the point of this video is not to vilify one grocery store or say shop here, not there. I do think that there are grocery bargains to be had at just about any place that you shop, and there are strategies to use to lower your grocery prices that work at a lot of grocery stores. Shopping the weekly sales and building meal plans around that, and it's worth noting that Aldi has a weekly sales flyer and Walmart not so much. However, I think watching for clearance items, especially produce, dairy, and meat, can be really helpful too, especially if they're items that you're going to use very quickly. And I tend to find the better clearance deals at my Walmart. Buying organic products where you can, looking for that store brand, which is very easy at Aldi since like 85 to 90% of the stuff they stock is their house brand. And even visiting multiple stores where it's practical, you know, where they're like next door to each other or across the street, so that you can combine those different saving strategies to get the best price. And let's face it, those of us who are seasoned Aldi shoppers, we know that a lot of times we do have to stop into one other grocery store for that one item or those 2 or 3 items that they just don't carry at Aldi. Am I right? Whatever your takeaway is, I do want to say, don't panic. Don't get discouraged. I've been making videos on this channel for almost 8 years, and I have lots of different videos featuring budget-friendly recipes, especially for families. So be sure to have a look around and check that out. There are probably some ideas that would work for you on this channel or on others to keep that grocery budget in control even today in 2026. So Aldi versus Walmart. I know some of you don't have Aldi. I know they're opening new stores every year all over the US. But if you do have both of those stores, where do you prefer to shop? Let me know. And be sure to check out one of these videos next that YouTube thinks you might want to watch, and I'll see you there.